Good afternoon. This is Dr. Matthew Dunn, host of The Future of Email Marketing. And my guest today from the opposite side of the country is Daniel Monte, head of SMS
Yes.
and email marketing at the Snow Agency. Daniel, welcome.
Well, thank you. Again, thank you for giving me this opportunity. Super glad to be here.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
fill people in a little bit just to orient them. And a lot of times it's people listening on a podcast. Sometimes they're watching our smiling faces on video, but fill us in a little
hmm
bit on the Snow Agency just for context.
Yeah, sure. So the Snow Agency is a full service digital marketing agency, working with brands of all sides of the spectrum, from infant size to brands that are generating over 1 million a month in revenue. And yeah, I mean, we offer the whole nine, Facebook ads, Instagram ads. We also have our own creative studio and of course, email and SMS marketing. So
Yeah.
yeah.
And email us as SMS is your beat, but I'm delighted to hear about the studio as well because that means you've got some reach to affect the creative in email that not every place has.
Yeah, so it's like super amazing, honestly. The creative studio is relatively new, and yeah, it's an in-house solution where we're basically working with clients, one-stop shop where we provide them with assets. We have our own, photo studio, so everything goes. We
Wow.
have videography, also have some nice, amazing shots too. So shout out to Angel who's like spearheading that. But yeah, our clients are like super, super happy with the shots that they've been receiving so far.
Oh, that's
So
cool.
yeah,
In fact,
yeah.
remind me when we're done talking with this and we stop recording. I'm part of a panel discussion on Friday about video and email, and I'll fill you in on when it is in case you're interested in
Okay.
attending because there's a whole lot of opportunity there that almost nobody taps.
Yeah.
How long for you aboard at the Snow Agency?
So I've been with the company for about a year now. So
Okay,
my one year
right through the
was
pandemic.
yeah, oh my gosh, that was so interesting. So the crazy thing is, I currently have about 7 years of email marketing experience, and
So
they got me at a time where I wasn't really happy at my employer at that time, right? It was so much yellow tape. I came in with the mindset that I'm just going to go ahead and shake things up, right? Unfortunately, that wasn't the case at that job. And I was just really miserable. I wanted to do more. I wanted to innovate more, right? And so I remember being miserable, like and sad, and just really frustrated one weekend. And I saged the house like one Sunday morning, and like the next day, I received like a DM on LinkedIn from Daniel Snow. I'm like, what is this? So I read it. He's telling me about this amazing opportunity to spearhead the email marketing department at the Snow Agency. I'm like, okay, that sounds interesting. So we had a phone conversation that led to another phone conversation, and without us even getting on video, he went ahead and
Wow,
gave me an offer. Yeah, so
wow, wow, that's
yeah,
cool.
yeah, we just really connected. And so yeah, like it's been honestly the most challenging but exciting year. So I obviously there was no processes in place for email marketing. They gave me the free reign to create it as I saw fit. And so I'm literally like creating and building a helicopter as I'm flying it,
Yeah, yeah.
working with clients, building out processes, hiring, making sure that the team is properly trained while also scaling brands. So we started at zero, and now we're at the point where we have over 13 million in revenue generated. So our clients are happy, we're happy. Dan and John, the founders, are extremely happy. So yeah, no complaints here.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
And all of that in a year. How long till you actually physically met someone from there live?
Oh my gosh. So it was actually like maybe 2, 3 months after the fact. So
Wow.
yeah, they gave me the offer, I think like around May 12th. I
Okay.
started working May
Yeah.
19th, and then I saw Dan and John in July. July actually was the first time. Yeah. So I'm like, hey man, how's it going?
Who'd ever thought that that'd be kind of at least part of the new reality, right?
Yeah, yeah, and it was so if you think about it, it's like wow, you're building a team during the pandemic. Like,
Yeah.
what the hell did I just get myself into? Like,
So you're walking in, starting this department. It sounds like almost from scratch. What was already in
yeah,
place? Were there platforms, tools, databases?
yeah.
Like how much was done and how
So
much do you have to undo?
yeah, so the only things that were pretty much in place was our existing accounts. So Obviously, the snow agency had a lot of accounts on the Facebook side and on the Google side of things. So we really tried to ramp up. I got myself in a position where I was doing a lot of client facing, speaking to potential clients on the email side, getting them opted in. And honestly, it wasn't me going in with the sales pitch, but just providing them with an overview of email marketing, the importance of it and why it's needed, especially on the retention side of things, right? A lot of times brands spend a lot of money bringing people to the site, but not really,
Right.
working on the channels that capture. Exactly.
Yeah.
So, so yeah, it was, it came with some challenges. Obviously things aren't easy, but, I just really tried to connect with the clients and work really hard to get them to the point where they're at 20% plus of store revenue for email marketing, and then ramp them up as well on the SMS side.
Wow. Now,
Yeah.
some agencies try and stay technology agnostic. Others are like, we're really good at X. I just had a nice conversation this morning with a gent from Philly, and they're almost all, top to bottom a HubSpot shop. Where do you guys sit on that?
So we do Klaviyo and Attentive. So
Oh,
we
nice.
have it. Yeah, exactly. We're Klaviyo Platinum partners, and we're also like elite partners for Attentive too.
Okay. Okay. So
Yeah,
you
yeah.
do have tools that you really know how to take out and drive.
Exactly. I think Klaviyo is just amazing. For one, it gives us the reports that we need. It's really efficient, really easy to use, and honestly, it's like the the best ESP. I've come all right. So I have about like again 7 years, but like I've tested about 50 ESPs in the past. Just because of my background at that
Yeah.
time, I had a
Yeah.
lot of experience on the affiliate marketing side. Obviously, what comes with that, right? Really aggressive tactics and learning how
Volume.
to really get yourself outside of the spam folder. So
Yeah.
that in itself, unfortunately, I had to get to the point where I was testing out different ESPs and working with different account managers. Now I'm on the other side of things, and I learned a lot, from the aggressive side, learning the importance of like IP reputation and just maintaining the best practices so that you can maintain the longevity of these brands' reputation. So that's amazing too. But yeah, Klaviyo is just very relatively easy to use, and I love the people over there. They definitely try to set every account up for success. So
Nice.
that's dope.
Wow.
On the Attentive side, I love Attentive as well. There's a lot of innovative features that they have in place, not just for SMS marketing, but really trying to generate more leads, even if you have email built in through Klaviyo. So IG swipe ups, right? That's an amazing feat that a lot of our clients love. So if clients have more than 10,000 followers on Instagram, you can coordinate with Attentive to have like an IG swipe up available through the story. They swipe up, they get to sign up. In addition to that, text to join, and yeah, a lot of great feats, man. Landing
Wow.
pages as well,
Yeah.
etc.
Yeah. Wow. Wow. Um, you dashed past it, but when you were talking about the affiliate world, and I'm not
Yeah,
knocking the affiliate marketing world, but it sounded like a Star Wars script for one minute. It was like, Luke, come away
yeah.
from the dark side, right?
Oh my gosh. All right. So I'll give you a background. So I initially I have to give you the whole story, right? So you can get the gist of it. So I studied marketing. I went to school for marketing because I wanted to learn how to promote myself as a rapper at the time. I was like,
Mhm.
listen, music is it. This is what I'm gonna
Cool.
do. And so I ended up studying marketing. I ended up loving marketing, in the process. I'm like, wow, this is something that I can really do after. This is where my heart is now. So right after graduation, I simultaneously interned at like a record label and also like an online radio station. And I didn't know anything about email at the time. I mean, I was doing like some small sends on Mailchimp, for a radio personality, but that was it. That alone actually helped me land an opportunity for an affiliate marketing agency in Brooklyn.
Mm.
And I started out as a digital marketing coordinator, which is really an email marketing coordinator for that role, and I learned a lot. So I would say that while yeah, it's like super aggressive, it's like fast paced. I was able to learn a lot of best practices because of the things that was happening in the process, right? Spamming and having a poor domain reputation, and then trying to like code your way, reverse engineer your way back into the inbox, which was always exciting. But like, I really learned a lot about email marketing and really loved it, because of it, right? I love the way we were able to test, A/B test, and see the results right then and there. It's not something you actually have to wait, 20 days
Yeah.
or a
Yeah.
month or two
Yeah.
months to actually
Yeah.
get the reward. So it honestly was like a game to me, right? Every day I'm looking to see how much money I
Interesting.
was able to generate. Every day I'm looking at the lift, and for my A/B tests,
Yeah.
I'm segmenting, I'm building out journeys. And yeah, it was super, super exciting. And like, I really worked my ass off that first year, got an opportunity as a manager that next year. And I did that for about 5 years. And then after that, I'm like, I got to try something else. I think I want to be on the positive side, on the green side now, So
Well,
I,
I mean, there's
yeah,
not always an easy relationship between the more aggressive, less aggressive side. How's that for a
yeah,
spectrum?
yeah.
But I'm gonna give you a really funny analogy. History of technology is one of my domains, and if you look at the history of technology, there are at least two groups that tend to exploit a new technology, particularly one that's media of some sort. One is magicians, and the other is pornographers. In however
Yeah,
pornography is defined at that point in time in that culture, right? But they're really cutting edge. Like, you want to learn web development, go spend your time on porno sites. I don't do it, but like, they're really good. And you look at the early adoption of the web. Who is pushing the boundaries on handling photos, membership sign up, credit cards, etc.?
yeah.
Again, that industry, and the more aggressive end of email marketing, there may be a lot to knock about it, but there's also a hell of a lot to learn, which clearly you got a
Yeah.
chance to do.
Yeah, honestly, like by the time I was ready to move on, I felt like there was nothing I couldn't do. I
Very
was
good.
literally building out copies, building out email templates from scratch. Again, really reverse engineering the way Gmail works, and going around their rules to inbox. And I'm talking about, I had to really report, had to do a report every day, right, to
Wow.
the CEO of the company,
Wow.
trying to really explain if revenue dropped, why did it drop, right? And if I had a great day, how I was able to do that so I can help others, right? Help the other managers. So, eventually I just got tired of it. I wanted to do more.
Yeah.
I wanted to innovate more. So I wanted to be more so on the e-com side.
Yeah.
So before I decided to really like change things up, I was really freelancing. So
Oh,
I
wow.
freelanced for like a firearm agency who had like this shop online. Shout out to Black Diamond. And then I also worked for a nonprofit organization focusing on drug abuse, right? And so I was literally wearing different hats, right? Like, went
Wow.
from affiliate side to really trying to make sure I increased the number of tickets sold for Black Diamond, firearm and training, and then also really trying to up the ante with the drug abuse email marketing strategy, being as informative as possible,
Yeah.
and really, tap into the brand voice. And I was able to see a lot of positive results. The flows averaged 30 to 50% open rate. The clients were really
Wow.
happy. Yeah, it was amazing. It was amazing, and I didn't know what I would do, so I came in humble, not too sure like how this is going to go.
Yeah.
And once I seen that, I'm like, all right, now I think I want to try, working for a big company if
Yeah.
possible. So yeah,
That's
I
really
ended up,
wow.
yeah.
Um,
So like, yeah, go ahead.
I want to talk email innovation, but there's one thing you said that I don't want to let slip. Uh, the music side of your life, still live, still active?
No. So I don't rap anymore, but I am a music head though. I am
Yeah,
a music head. Yeah,
you'll
yeah.
never
I
lose
listen to
that.
all types of music. Yeah, no, can't.
Yeah, you'll never lose that. I spent 20 plus years with no active, I was a listener, but no active music. And
Yeah,
it happens to everybody. You'll come back. You'll come back. There'll be a
yeah.
point where you go like, I want to do this again. Right? Doesn't mean I have to make a living at it. I just want to do it
Mhm.
again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
And
honestly, I feel like I'm getting that itch. I'm not. I feel like I
well,
am, but yeah. Let's see.
it's an oddly tough time and maybe a great time for reinvention for music businesses and musicians themselves. I mean, this pandemic's taken a hell of a whack out of live
Mhm.
performances, but people are certainly hungry to get back and actually engage and hear things live and be at an event, not just listening to the recording of an event. Let's see what we can make of that, huh?
Right. Yeah. There's nothing like it. There's nothing like it. I can't wait.
Yeah, yeah. So innovation, you mentioned more of a hunger and an appetite to innovate more. What are some of the things that you wanted to do? What are some of the things you still want to do?
Yeah, so some things that we're actually working on is really implementing QR codes in the post-purchase journey. Really trying to tap into providing value to subscribers, right? So essentially, when customers buy something, right? Do they have a how-to manual, right?
Mhm.
And so when they receive a product, scanning a code and receiving a how-to manual through a landing page that we customly built,
Mhm.
as well as video, right? Providing additional information, again, bringing value, but also making sure that the ideation aspect is still there. In addition to that, another thing that we're working on is really trying to gamify the user experience, right? Finding ways to make email marketing even more enjoyable than what it already is, and then also do it through a way of SMS marketing too. So one great thing that we innovated, like maybe 2 months ago, was having this Easter egg hunt where one of my team members literally worked on this campaign, and shout outs to her, shout outs to Megan. And it was really like, hey, they received an email, and in the email it's like, hey, find an Easter egg on the brand's website, and if you find it, you unlock a gift, a promotion.
Okay. Yeah.
And so that ended up doing really well. We ended up seeing a lift in revenue. So that's something that we really just have posted up on the side. Like, we framed it essentially,
Nice.
virtually framed it. But yeah, it's so just doing more of that, right? Providing long-term value to subscribers,
Mhm.
really making people happy to receive emails or SMS messages.
Yeah.
In addition to that, we also worked on playlists, right? There's no game, there's no end game for that. It's not like we did it to generate a lot of revenue. But the thing is, we're already successful with the strategy that we have. So why not just focus again on gamifying it and just making overall a more pleasurable experience? So we build playlists for brands. We work with them and we get them to the point where we literally knock out some songs. So I guess when you ask me, am I still like intact with the
Yeah.
music side? Maybe I am. Maybe I
Yeah.
am. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's just amazing. You give it as a thank you. The subscribers listen to the playlist. They love it. Now the brand is top of mind. And it's now to the point where a lot of our clients are really, really, asking for more of that.
That's Spotify, Apple Music, like playlist in what format?
Exactly.
Oh,
Exactly.
that's
So we
freaking
typically,
awesome.
yeah. And we send it to them via email and SMS. Like,
Yeah.
and the thing is, it's not only us just working on the email aspect. We really work with the client to build
Yeah.
out these
The
playlists.
playlist, right? To
So
make it
yeah,
suit
yeah,
the brand.
exactly,
That,
exactly. So
I have
that's
never
like
heard of
super
someone doing
exciting.
that. That's freaking brilliant.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
In like in the delivery mechanism, like in an email message, brand X that I've been hearing from, here's a playlist for you. Do you work with your design team to build a graphic, essentially the album
hmm
cover for the
Yeah, we do the
playlist?
whole nine. Yeah, we do the whole nine. We work
Oh,
on
that's
the
cool.
email. We work on the cover art as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
And we also we're literally in the Spotify and the Apple accounts just to make sure that everything is up and running
Right.
smoothly.
Right.
Yeah.
So that the experience itself works. So it's curation as a form of
hmm
content.
Correct.
How much do you have to know? These are broad questions. This could be hard to answer. How much do you like, how do you get in the head of it's brand meets customer, right? I mean, send me a playlist that's all stuff I hate, not good for the brand. Send me stuff that I love. It's a great relationship builder. How do you make that bridge out of music?
Yeah, so we try to really study the brand, and so that's through market research. We actually have our own market research team that literally takes on the brand and builds out personas,
Okay.
and then we'll coordinate with the clients, and then we'll request the music. When the music is sent, we'll align it with the market research, and that's a very good question. I mean, the thing is, sometimes clients, especially when they're at the infant stages of their brand,
Yeah.
they technically try to like tell you what's not good for the customers when it's really something that they're not interested in, right? So, you really have to try to filter through that
Yeah.
and just work
Yeah.
with them. Like, listen, I think we should try it.
Yeah.
My motto is simple. Let's A/B test it. If we fail, fuck
Yeah.
it, right? That's
Yeah.
literally the approach that
There
I
you
have for
go, man.
everything.
Well, it's one of the virtues of the email especially, but virtues of digital is that you've got that feedback loop. You can be data driven about those decisions.
Exactly. And it's all about pivoting, right?
Yeah.
When something, you got to react real fast.
Yeah.
And so that's what we do. And I think that's what also makes us really great.
One of the things that's intrigued me watching the shift of more and more marketing and advertising to digital channels, because I'm older than you are, uh,
I couldn't tell, Matthew.
is the measurability is so different. In the days of television and radio, it was a sampling job, mostly Nielsen, and you were making big multi-zillion dollar bets, and then months later finding out if they worked or not. And now we've got these instant feedback loops, even at a very small scale, that can enable you to do things much more quickly, much more smartly. But it shifted marketing much more into a science kind of discipline: hypothesis, thesis, test, split tests, not just creative and this will set the world on fire. Oops, sorry, give me my money anyway. Right?
Yeah.
It's
I mean,
cool.
it is amazing. We have months of like data just backed up in our drive. You know,
Yeah.
looking at reports on what campaigns performed well, what didn't, to what segment as well. But yeah, everything is live and in real time, and I think that's what makes it beautiful.
Yeah.
When we present proposals to clients, we literally have hard stats to back everything up.
Right.
And I think now, you know, with everything, it gives us the opportunity to really personalize and custom the journey, which is what we want, right?
Yeah.
Subscribers shouldn't be receiving every type of email, right? If they're interested in product A, then we need to give them product A, and we need to provide them with as much information as
Yeah.
possible
Yeah.
about product A and how to use it, you know,
Yeah.
not sending product B and expecting them to open it. So in turn, we actually built out a, you know, a long-term relationship, and we increased their lifespan, right? So
Yeah.
that's the goal here.
Now, jump to the SMS side for a second, because I've had a couple of guests on this podcast who are specifically working in more in text and SMS. Kenneth Burke from Text Request was on fairly early, and when I'd reached out to him and said, "Hey, you want to be a guest and come chat on podcast?" He said, "But I'm in texting, not email." And I said, "Yeah, no, guys, a pretty tight
Yeah.
that we need to think about there." What's your perspective broadly on text and email and the boundary between the two?
So a pain point that I have is like when people tell me that, you know, email is better than SMS or SMS is better than email. They need to collaborate. It needs to be a cohesive experience, right? And so through dual orchestration, you have to make sure that we're providing subscribers with what they want, right? So like maybe you're dealing with a subscriber that's not interested in receiving emails, but they're more prone to open an SMS message and read it, right? 98% of people that have SMS that are subscribed open and view these text messages, right? At least that's what the report says. So when you have something like that backing you up, I think you know you're on to something big, right? But not all subscribers prefer that. So like it's about giving them what they want, especially when you're creating these big journeys. So like when you're working on the abandoned cart, right? So if you're working on an abandoned cart flow and someone is never opening their emails, then you should have it triggered to where you're sending them text messages, not emails. In addition to that, I think it can really echo each other very nicely, especially when you're working on a very big campaign for the brand. I just think it goes down to really trying to personalize the experience, because SMS marketing is very intimate. So you can't really follow the same approach as you would for an email as you would for an SMS. You have to really tap into the psyche and make it very exciting to read. It shouldn't just be a bland, generic text message. It should be filled with personality and witty, and really, again, just trying to provide value to them.
Yeah, and authentic as well, I would think, which is not
Super,
easy.
yes. Authenticity is huge. Yes.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, see,
Yeah.
I use LinkedIn as a proxy sometimes in my head, as I've watched, particularly in the pandemic, watch the traffic on LinkedIn go like this, and it's so damn obvious when a LinkedIn request pops up, and it's just bullshit. Like,
Hell yes. It's like,
like
hey, dude, like it's like this is you just copy and
no,
pasted it. Now I don't feel interested in adding you.
right, right, and
No, we
P.S.
can't be friends.
Don't dump everything on the front step and expect me to open the door, man. Like it doesn't.
Right. Like, what are you doing?
What are you doing? And I would think
Yeah.
in text, because it's such a high priority interrupt, right? The thing goes bing, I'm
Mhm.
gonna look at it. So
Exactly.
if you get me to look at the bing and it's baloney, delete, blacklist, opt out, whatever you want to call it. Like I don't really have
Exactly.
time for that crap.
Yeah, now you're dealing with a high opt-out rate. So how do you
Right.
explain that to your clients, right?
Yeah, you got to watch
But
that as
yeah,
well.
yeah, and if you're working with like a very good platform, again, you should be set up for success, right? You should want to hyper segment as much as possible based on activity
Yeah.
that's given to you through integrations with Shopify, right? If they're ecom.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, there's no reason for anyone to drop the ball there. But I can definitely see why it may be easy to overlook and fumble and have a high opt out rate.
Well, and it's a big coordination job. I mean, those
Hmm.
two platforms play relatively tightly together. Or are you guys knitting them together
Yes.
yourself? They do.
Yeah,
Okay.
so yeah, they do. They do. We're honestly, it's the same department. So like my team, when I assign my team to a brand or they're working on X, Y, and Z,
They're
and
handling
if
both.
that brand is opted in for email and SMS, then
Yeah.
that one person is working on it because we
It's
want to make
working on
sure
both.
that
Yeah.
exactly the copy is the same, right?
Yeah.
We want to make sure that when they receive an email and they receive an SMS, it's like the same type of feel and
Yeah.
excitement that they get.
Yeah.
Especially again when we're doing like these big projects, we want to make sure that it's like collaborated successfully, right? So
Right.
that's the goal.
Ah, nice. What I should have asked at the beginning for context, but what are there any consistencies about the industries or personalities or whatever? Like, what kind of clients does the snow agency tend to work with? Who do like
Yeah.
are you all over the map? Are you focused in a few particular niches? What?
Yeah, so we're honestly all over the map. Yeah, we're open to be working with anyone, any brand. Honestly, like our main priority is to just to really scale the brand and really set the client up for success, right? We're like trainers, right? We're sometimes we're going to tell you things you don't want to hear, but it's to make sure that you're set up for
That's a good
success and you're in good
analogy.
shape. Yeah,
Yeah.
so that's the approach.
Okay. Okay. Well, then, does that means you get to learn a good bit about those niches and industries and companies in the course of handling their campaigns.
Yeah, yeah, and that's what's exciting. Speaking for myself, I really care about my track record. I care about how many brands that we have that are super successful. So when there's a brand in a new industry that I haven't even worked on before, I'm itching. I'm trying to see how this is going to work. I really
Yeah.
want to make sure that it's successful. We're doing our due diligence. We're doing our market research. We're
Yeah.
connecting with the client. We're
Yeah.
doing our weekly check-ins. Just really trying to set them up for success. And we're A/B testing like every freaking week. So yeah.
Wow. Yeah. We'll have to have a longer conversation about testing, probably offline. What's You don't have to answer this if you don't want to, but anything jump out at you at, wow, I tried that and it just fell on its face, and I learned a lot from it.
Oh, that's a tough one. I'm trying to think right now. There was a roadmap that we built. And I don't want to speak too soon because we're not giving up yet. So,
Okay. Good.
but
Great.
there's this like email campaign, which really was a journey. So, basically finding out what the customer wants by following a map, right? So it's a long email that
Oh,
we
okay.
did,
Yeah.
and it's like several different destinations, and each destination would take people to a different product page, right, or a
Okay.
different landing page, depending
Okay.
on what we wanted to do. And it did not do well at all. Like
Not so
yeah,
far, right?
yeah. So in terms of by not doing well, I'm referring to the conversions, right? The conversion it was negative, the lift, right? And so yeah, I mean, but that's honestly we're not giving up, right? There's a lot of brands in our portfolio, and honestly, it's just a matter of hey, why didn't it perform well? Let's try something different, right?
Right.
Let's change the aesthetics, right? Let's change the type of offerings we have in the roadmap. Let's try it on a different brand or in a different industry, and let's keep on trying it until we just exhausted our resources and
Yeah.
nothing else is working. So that's
Yeah.
the approach.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Ah, good on you. And it's funny, you can end up with an orthodoxy in your head, right? Emails have to look like this, to be like this. Says who?
Mhm.
Right?
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
Test it and find out.
Exactly. Like marketing is just so subjective, right? Everyone has their own opinion. And so I use that to my own advantage. Obviously we know what works, but
Mhm.
doing what works every single time, following the curriculum is just kind of boring sometimes. You got to like really push the envelope. And that's what we try to do as much as possible. That's literally like our priority this quarter. Like go crazy, try different things, see what works, see what doesn't, and learn from it, and then incorporate it in our practices.
Nice, nice. And to have the latitude and the authority to go ahead and experiment, try and expand the
Yeah,
box.
yeah.
It's a great thing. It's a great thing about sounds like about the agency. You wouldn't be doing that
Yeah.
if it was
No, yeah,
just repeat
yeah, good.
yourself over and over.
Yeah, like good leadership comes from the
Yeah,
top down.
yeah,
So,
yeah,
one of the things that drawn me to the snow agency was Dan and John telling me during like the interview process that listen, we want to give someone the keys and really innovate and really try to push the agency forward.
yeah.
And I took that to heart and ran with it. And the thing too is that you bring up authenticity. That's very true. And you also have to be, you have to communicate a lot and also be transparent. If something fails, don't hide the failure. Like, just be very upfront with it and explain why it failed. There's always an explanation of something, right? So
Yeah.
just that upfront communication is really what keeps allowing me to actually have that reign of innovation.
Nice. Wow. It's always delightful to hear someone sort of clearly got the reins and running in the gig they've got, because
Yeah.
that's a lot more fun than I kind of
Yeah, like
right.
I'm going crazy. I'm actually meeting with the client on Monday to talk about QR codes in person, right? So it's like this fun project. I can't talk about that too much, right? Not yet until it goes live. So
Okay,
there's this. I'll
we have to
follow up with you.
we have
Yeah,
to talk about split tests and QR codes and a whole bunch of other stuff, but
yeah,
we can do that offline because I'm not doing this for Campaign Genius commercials.
yeah.
One other domain. Just because you've got an expert opinion and an expert's eye on this, have you tracked the announcement from Apple, I think 2 days ago, about how they want to handle pixels?
Yes. So my belief is that eventually they will implement some type of feedback loop where we're actually able to know who opens an email. But if not, like, my thing is we're probably going to have to push the agenda of using Gmail, right? The Gmail app, because that's going to provide us with the information that we need. Apple is really big on, engagement, but we don't know who, if we don't know who opens, how the hell are we supposed to actually provide subscribers with the information they want?
Yeah.
Right. So I'm hoping that they will later down the line implement something like that. But literally, I'm like trying to do research on the side to have a backup plan ready to go,
Yeah. Yeah. I think folks who take doing email well seriously are justifiably a little concerned about what feels like a big old blanket over every pixel is bad.
Exactly, exactly. We're not doing massive sends to everyone promoting every single thing. We're literally, we take it as an art. I take it as an art. This is my paint house. This is how I'm doing this.
Mhm.
And in order for me to build that and paint that beautiful canvas, I need data. Like, I need data. So
Well, yeah,
yeah,
no feedback loop, no
exactly.
improvement, right? Like
Exactly.
we can't
Exactly.
send the more relevant, as you said. We don't
Yeah,
know
you're
who the hell
blind
is
sending.
opening
Yeah,
it.
you're blind sending. That, and we don't want that.
Yeah. We might risk kind of pushing us all backwards in terms of practice. The other thing is, and I mean, this is particularly technical slant on it, but all Apple would really accomplish with that is to rob me of when and where, but not who. If I want to track specific down to the recipient pixel, pixel data, I can find a way to get that there.
Hmm.
Every email automatically flagged as open because Apple's reading the pixels. I don't see who gains anything out of that. But
Yeah.
yeah, well, it may
It's a
it may
crazy
make
time.
them. This is back to our conversation about affiliate marketers, right? They'll have to start grappling with that out on the aggressive edge, and there'll probably be
Hmm.
some lessons trickling back from there. It's a dumb place to tee up a cold war, seems to me.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Hmm. Bothersome. Wow. What a like what action-packed conversation, man. I love to hear about what you're doing. Your team, how big? What? How do you divide that up? You
Yeah.
mentioned ownership of an account, which makes a ton of sense. What else
Hmm.
structurally does that look like?
Yeah, so we have the whole nine. So in my team, I have managers, coordinators, copywriters, coders. And so so it's awesome. We have I want to make sure that someone can just specialize in their role, right? When I was doing copy, I wasn't the best at it. So, let's just have copywriters that can knock out the best copy ever, right? So that's the goal. And so, yeah, typically the way it works is, we get assigned, I assign the brands to the managers, and then from there they're assigning what coordinators have what brand, and we have the copywriters on board, we have the developers, the designers too. So when the email is beautifully designed and approved, the developer is going ahead and coding that and adding it to
Hmm.
Klaviyo.
Okay.
So yeah,
Okay.
then we QA everything. Yeah.
Do you use Klaviyo's native editor for the design work?
No, we actually use Photoshop, and then from there take it on to Dreamweaver, code it to Dreamweaver.
Oh, you doing Dreamweaver? Interesting. I haven't touched
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Dreamweaver. It's been a while.
yeah.
I kind of keep track of the editor
Yeah.
space, but
Yeah.
I'll have to take a look at what does Dreamweaver got specifically email HTML, not web HTML.
Correct. Correct.
'Cause
Yeah.
I've got the creative suite. It's like, there are there's more apps than you can even name in that thing.
Yeah, yeah, it surprises me all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, good surprise. And, you're paying the monthly VIG, so you might as well use the tools. But every
Hmm.
one of them is so cotton picking deep that
Hmm.
that getting really conversant with many tools in the Creative Suite, whew, right?
Yeah.
Lot of work, a lot of work. And then you
Yeah, that's
mentioned,
why I just let my developers just have at it, I
yeah,
step away from the process.
yeah. Well, it's like you said about copywriting, right?
Hmm.
Being okay as a coder is probably not. You don't want that person doing the coding.
Right.
Do you have
Post
any
a whole bunch of broken links and stuff.
broken legs and stuff? Yeah. Do you have anyone whose job is the data side of it, a data scientist or anything like that?
Yeah, so we actually have a department assistant that assists with that. But in terms of who's doing it, the managers are going in, looking at the overall performances, and that's really per request, right?
Yeah.
One of my managers, Megan, really wanted to start analyzing it, and she wanted to own that, right, for her team.
Nice.
So go ahead, have at it, right? That's also something that I'm working on too. I just feel like when you don't, and this is just speaking based on my experience in the past, not someone I worked with, but what I've was exposed to. When you have a data analyst, the managers or anyone else that's really supposed to be in tune with the performance takes a step back and chooses not to review it as much, right? So when you're in practice yourself, when you're on the field, you're looking at it, you know what's going on. And I want to make sure that, when we're communicating with our clients, these managers and everyone else that's in tune with the campaign performance knows every single thing about these campaigns, right? It's very important to be able to know it and then articulate it to our
Yeah.
clients.
Yeah.
And that's something that they really love doing too.
That's a healthy way to look at it. Yeah. And
Yeah.
and it means that they're going to get smarter about
Exactly.
both the
Exactly.
campaigns and the customer, as well as how to handle the data for the next campaign, the next customer.
Exactly. My goal is to literally build my team up and make them a master, right? Make them greater than me. So, like, in order for you to do that, you got to be the one looking at these stats, baby.
Yeah.
Looking at these stats and getting more confident, and then taking your learnings and incorporating it for those next brands or that a strategy that's similar to the one that you ran in the past.
You can't manage what you don't measure, someone said once.
Yes.
Wow. Well, this is actually one of my favorite conversations. This I really
Awesome, dude. I was nervous. I was shitting bricks. I was like, I don't know what questions are going to be asked. I'm just gonna go in. I'm gonna wing it. I'm not gonna look at no deck.
so good.
Just but fuck it, right? Let's
Yeah.
just have fun with it.
Yeah,
I'm having a
well,
good
and I mean,
time. Yeah.
listen and learn. No, I just it sounds like you've built a department that's kind of cooking on all cylinders
Yeah.
in those channels. Email gets a little bit it's old, it's tired. I'm like bullshit, bullshit, bullshit. Um,
Yeah. It hurts my soul when I hear that.
yeah, yeah,
It's like, come
yeah.
on. You don't
Come
need us
on,
until you need us.
yeah, and
Yeah.
it's the one that you're not paying the gatekeeper or the troll underneath the bridge to use. That's actually maybe my
Exactly.
favorite thing about emails. Like, there's no gatekeeper. It's not, here, Mark Zuckerberg, take a piece of this, or here, Google, take a
No,
piece of
it's
that.
your
It's like
list.
you and the recipient.
Exactly. One-on-one conversations if need be. You own it. You own the list. You can take it anywhere you want, right?
Yeah, yeah.
We love Klaviyo, but if for whatever reason Klaviyo just shut down
You can
tomorrow, we
switch.
can take that list and export it somewhere else,
Yeah,
and have a new strategy for that. But
yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah. Which makes that such an asset. And I think, I mean, obviously you've got the carriers getting paid to carry the message, but SMS has some of the same characteristics, although it's a I don't know if it's ever going to mature because it's such a fractured set of platforms, texting. Um,
yeah,
yeah, it's like it's a pity. I don't know if you tracked when Google was trying to push a richer standard, RCS. They were trying to sell the carriers on a what essentially looked and smelled like Apple messages for everything else, and it just fizzled. They didn't make it. They didn't get it through. And I mean, working with carriers never for the faint of heart. But if Google couldn't push that one through, I don't think we will see a unified, rich messaging platform come out of SMS/MMS anytime soon. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah. So how do you see like it being enriched? Like if you can have it your way, what would be like the ideal like MMS SMS experience?
Um, you can do it if you really know what you're doing, and if you're in the address book, and those are fairly critical, huge roadblocks to what I'm about to say. But my my working thesis for all digital channels is that they all seek media over time, and
Hmm.
that's not an anti-copy, anti-written language stance in any sense. It's just that now that we've got the capability on a web page, for example, to do literally anything and everything from written copy in a great looking font to video that you can full screen to animation to like keep going through the list. So we can shove all of that through that rectangle called a web browser. Okay.
Hmm.
Email is lagging and it's starting to catch up. And part of the reason we launched Campaign Genius is like, God dang it, email could be a lot richer and more visual than it is. Let's enable that. Let's build a tool set for that. So I think we'll see email become more visual. There are some architectural reasons why email won't be a first class media platform. Um, I think there's solutions to that, but I think they're going to take a very long time to evolve because there's no compute engine in email. I'll send you the paper if you're interested. It's a email is dumb at a technical level, so
Hmm.
there's some constraints to what we'll do through email. It's benefited us. Uh, it's kept it from becoming the kind of cesspool that the web browser with third party cookies became because of
Yeah.
the scripting engine. To answer your question after that preface, if you've got someone in your address book on an iPhone, do you use an iPhone or Android?
iPhone.
iPhone, me too. If you've got someone in your address book, so that essentially Apple said, okay, they trust this guy. That's effectively how it works in messages. If I send you a web page, if I copy a link in YouTube and stick it in messages and send it to you, you can play the video right inside the messenger. I'm sure you've done that.
Hmm.
It's like it's a media experience. It's not just a short little bits of copy experience. But you can't do that at a large scale. That's literally constrained down to he's in my address book, so we'll give him the preview of the YouTube page. If I texted you that message out of the blue, you didn't know who I was, and I wasn't in your address book, you'd get the little link. And then if you want to go to the browser and view it, that's up to you, but you don't get that full media experience inside the Messenger client right now. I understand the reason not to do it, the reason to require that address book level of trust and permission, but it does mean that messaging is really constrained from becoming a richer media experience, which I think is the arc it'll follow. Because if you look at every digital channel, that's the arc they've followed.
Yeah. And so that's also one of the reasons why we ask our subscribers to save us and add us to their phone book.
Perfect.
We
Yeah,
do that in
perfect.
our journey. Yeah.
Perfect. Do you send visuals in text right now?
We do. Yeah.
Cool.
So it's dope. But yeah, that's part of our welcome series. Like right after they sign up, the
Nice.
next message after the next SMS after that is just asking them to add us to their phone books. So
Okay.
we have
Yeah.
that capability. Yeah.
And yeah, we both understand why.
Yeah.
It makes sense, but it's also a funny ask. It may actually be the saving grace of texting. Is like you really are giving the user an even greater level of control. I can email you a picture. I can't text you one without permission, so to speak.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
The video aspect is like the main drive behind that,
Yeah. Yeah.
wanting
Totally.
to, yeah. So, yeah, but I think SMS, especially when you're dealing with the right platform. I mean, they're always finding ways to implement. And there's some things I can't say because I'm in the beta phase. I'm beta testing some things, but yeah, I don't know. I would debate you if I can say certain things, but I'll hold back.
Okay. Okay. Well,
Yeah,
we need to have a not on the camera call
I'm
about
totally game. Yeah.
richer media and things you can do in email, things you can do in texting, because I totally geek out on this stuff too. Well, what a pleasure. You made my day, man.
you made mine. This is like my first podcast. So I'm like super excited.